and Mike,
Yeah.
you can get all of those stories and more in a book that I wrote that will come out in October. Simon and Schuster were kind enough to offer me a book deal on my memoirs, and they really start from the moment my dad kind of started watching hockey on a black and white TV. Of course, immigrant parents. I grew up in the restaurant business, fell in love with the game, and it's my story. It's my dad's story. It's my junior pro sports experience, and of course 20 years as a broadcaster at Sportsnet and Hockey Night in Canada. So that story comes out October 20th, and it's called Undrafted, Mike.
Now, one of the questions I got from a listener wanted me to ask you what it was like working with Perry Lefko on that project.
Perry's an interesting guy.
All right, I'll level with you. That question came from Perry Lefko. He's been on the show. I think he's been writing me every day for the past 4 weeks since I announced you were coming on. He wants to know what you really think of him.
I love his passion. I love his energy. He's first of all, he was the only. I've worked with a lot of writers. I've been around a lot of great people that have done amazing things with a pen and paper. He's the only one that came up to me and said, "You got a story that should be written." And I'm like, other than like my immediate family and maybe a few people on the Danforth, I'm not sure how many people want to read this story. And he said, "No, it's a good story." And I said, "Listen, if you want to go pitch it, by all means, go ahead." And sure enough, he comes back and he says, "Yeah, the biggest publishing company in North America want to write your book."
Wow.
And I'm like, "Okay, that's good enough for me. Let's get to work." Well, but Perry's a fun guy, and it was a good experience sitting down with him and sharing my story.
Well, next time you talk to him, play a little bit of "When in Rome." Promise. I think The Promise is the name of the song. When in Rome. He'll cry. Perry Lefko will just start to weep. So there's a little pro tip for you. And just a shout out to Perry, because I know he's listening. I really enjoyed his book on Ed Olczyk. So if the book on Nick Kypreos is even 60% as good as that Ed Olczyk book, it's going to be great.
Yeah. Well, and to me, Ed's got a real story. I said, "Perry, if you can kind of, do half as good of a job on my story than you did on Ed's, then we'll be okay." But, I also told him this book better sell or else I'll make you cry. Not the song. I'll make you cry.
Well, Perry himself will buy a few thousand copies, so you're doing all right there.
Yeah.